right. Looks like we're live. Okay. Hi, I'm Nicholas Corey. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the first time I've done a YouTube live stream. Took a little bit to get it figured out, but I was so excited about this new release that just became available today. And like I said, I'm doing this on YouTube rather than Twitch because I've gotten more interaction about my tabletop role-playing game design on YouTube than I have on Twitch. So that's what we're going to be looking at today here on this YouTube stream. And what is it? Well, it's Your First Job, which is the quick start guide for the upcoming Astral Tides role-playing game. It is a completely independent, self-published role-playing game designed by myself with a lot of help from my friends who have play tested and offered their input and advice over the course of the last few years. We're finally seeing the fruits of all those labors come through in the form of this. This just came out today, October 14th, 2021, to date the video. So what we're going to be doing today is talking about what is the Astral Tides role-playing game, where did it come from, what's the quick start guide, and what you can expect from, hopefully, the full release, which, well, hopefully won't be too far along. Right now I'm planning for Q1, maybe Q2 of 2022. So, you can see there's the URL where you can pick up the quick start guide down below on DriveThruRPG. It is a pay-what-you-want download, so you decide how much you want to throw me for this product, and then the success of this will obviously make producing the full RPG that much easier. But realistically, you could play the full... you could play Astral Tides with just this quick start guide. I mean, there's an adventure and there's pre-gen characters, but there's enough rules there that you can play the game. Obviously, it's a quick start guide, with just this. You're just going to lack a lot of the customization options and the in-depth setting lore and all that come with the full release. So anyway, what is this? Those of you who know me know that I write self-published fiction. And especially chief among those would be the Astral Tides book series, which is a series of science fiction space opera about space pirates. That's literally people who fly pirate ships in space. And it's an exciting, pulpy sort of adventure series that I've been working over the last, again, 2.5, 3 years to create a tabletop role-playing game for, because tabletop RPGs, that's my favorite style of game, and the Astral Tide setting is one that's near and dear to my heart. We streamed on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Nicholas Corey. We streamed an early playtest, I think 6 or 7 sessions of it, of an older version of this RPG, and now it has since evolved and changed since then. So what you're seeing here is the cover art, the beautiful cover art done by the ever amazing Ramon. He did work for my previous RPG release back in 2013, Round 10 role-playing, which, I mean, if you have it, great. It's not... I've learned a lot since then, not only on how to design games, but also on how to release self-published products. And so I'm really looking forward to getting this one underway. So anyway, Astral Tides role-playing. Your First Job, it's the quick start guide. And we're just going to kind of go through the guide here real quick and see what it has to offer. First of all, it's written and laid out so that you can get the guide and just open it up and start playing. So everything's kind of arranged in such a way that as you need it, you'll be reading it. So it starts with a how to use this book, running the game, a crash course to the galaxy, so a very quick overview of the setting, and then a who's who, and we have the wonderful character art of our pre-gen characters down at the bottom there, and we have the read aloud box here, gives a little bit of insight onto what each character is like. There's a lizard man who's all about, automatic rifles. We have an Ardaxian who is a spellcaster, and this big Carolician over here, this dark-skinned, tusked individual is also a spellcaster. We have a Minix, which is one of my favorite of the species. Cat person, short cat person, swashbuckler. We have an Irokian, another one of my favorites, a short amphibious humanoid that is a sniper. And then we have a human protector, sword and board style character. So it mixes tropes of both fantasy and science fiction. Definitely leans harder towards the fantasy side of the genre than it does science fiction. Just because I think that's more fun, at least for this particular for this setting, I think it's more fun to have the pirates flying through space on pirate ships and have it lean harder towards fantasy than it does science fiction. Anyway, we got a brief overview of what casting is like, what magic is like for the two characters who have it, and then it just jumps right into the adventure. And you've got your orange is your read aloud text, and the grays are GM advice, GM tips, stuff like that. So there's a brief overview of what exactly is going on in this adventure, what's the preceding events or the events that preceded the start of the adventure, and then how to attempt tests, what bonus dice are, and that sort of thing. So let's talk a little bit about the system. Astral Tide's role-playing runs on currently an unnamed system. I've been calling it the Superspace system just because Superspace is an element of the Astral Tide setting, but it's a system that I could very easily adapt to other settings, and in fact, I have soft plans to do so in the far future, in many years in the future. But basically, it's roll a pool of d6s, keep the highest 2 of that pool, add your appropriate stat to the roll, and then compare that to a target number. That's the basics. And in fact, we can scroll to the end of this adventure where we have the basics, and this teaches you how to play. So it talks about the 4 attributes that every character has: agility, might, spirit, and wits. Those are the 4 attributes that measure your character's physical and mental capabilities. They're measured on a scale of 1 to 6, 1 being the lowest, obviously. Everything starts at 1, and then 6 being the highest. The highest you can start with at first level is a 3, except for your key attribute, which is determined by your class, called an aspect. That can go up to 4. So you roll 2 d6, or more d6, if you have bonus dice. You keep the highest 2 out of your entire roll, and then you add your attribute to that. Then there's also skills. Skills are specific areas of expertise that are rated on a rating of 0 to 3. You can only ever have 2 different skills as high as 3, so most of your skills are going to be 1 or 2. There are 12 different skills in the game, and those, just like attributes, add to your die roll if the skill can appropriately be applied. Difficulties range from 10, which is on the easy side, to 18, which is on the highest difficulty, the heroic side. And most of the tests in this adventure in the Quick Start Guide here will be 10, 12, 14 in that area. And that's the basics of the mechanics, really, is it's just roll against a target number. However, in combat, if you're attacking someone, and we can kind of scroll down to the attacks and damage section here, if you're attacking someone, you compare that target number to the target's defense, and for each point you succeed by, you deal extra damage. So if you hit the target's defense, you deal damage equal to whatever your weapon damage is, which is usually 1 or 2. And then for every point you succeed over their defense, you deal additional damage. And when a character, enemy, or when a player character or an enemy, any sort of combatant takes 10 physical damage, then they suffer a wound. And you can see we have the vitality grid up here on this document. And it's a series of boxes. There's 9 boxes, and then there's the rightmost row is a little darker, and that's the 10th box. So you basically check in these boxes as you take damage, and once you check that last one, then you've taken a wound. Characters naturally can sustain 3 wounds before they're out, before they're incapacitated, but there are other effects that can give you extra wounds, such as raising your might. If your might is particularly high, you'll gain extra wound levels. You'll be hardier and more difficult to incapacitate. The reason why there are different colored boxes here and why it's important to know when you take that wound and when you don't is that at the end of a scene, so at the end of combat, for instance, all of your accumulated physical damage goes away as long as that damage hasn't completed its row yet. So if you've taken 6 damage and you're right in the middle of the vitality grid on your first wound, and then combat ends, you just heal all that 6 damage. But if you take 16 damage and you have 1 wound and then you're starting the 6 on the next row up, then you heal the top 6, but that bottom row of 10 stays there until you can get the wound removed, which is obviously harder to do. Same thing works. There's also will, which is mental damage. That works the same way. And as you take physical damage, your mental defense decreases. And as you take mental damage, your physical defense decreases. So there's this nice back and forth where you're going to be, intimidating and using mental attacks and stuff like that to weaken your foes physically before you can take them out through wounds. So that's a fun little back and forth way to go. And then there's obviously, conditions and everything like that as well. So the Quick Start Guide features 6 playable characters, pre-generated, that come from 6 different aspects. And again, an aspect in Astral Tides is a class, a character class, essentially. The aspects are, if we go left to right here, we have a mercenary, and then we have a channeler. The mercenary is all about big guns, again, full auto fire. The channeler is a character, think of them like a cleric or more like a warlock. They get powers because of a connection they have to a cosmic entity or being. And not only that, they recognize that every living thing has such a connection to these cosmic entities. These other people, they can't draw on that connection, whereas the channeler can. Then we have Minix Swashbuckler, who's all about agile, close quarters fighting. And then the Irokian Agent, who, like I mentioned earlier, is a stealthy sniper. A Carolician Mentalist. Think of Carolicians kind of like space orcs. I mean, very, very much orcishly inspired based on that art. But a Mentalist. That means he uses psionic powers to control the battlefield and hinder his foes. And then on the far right, we have a Human Protector. And Protector is exactly what you think it is. It is a melee-focused tank character. Those are the 6 aspects included in the Quick Start Guide. If and when the full RPG releases, we'll be seeing 11 aspects total. So in addition to these 6, there are 2 more spellcasting aspects, the Cybermancer and the Star Sorcerer, both of which are pretty exciting. And then there are, 3 remaining non-casting aspects. Those are the Operator, the Gladiator, and, gosh, I'm going from memory. What is the last one? I'm losing steam. The Operator, the Gladiator, and the Mastermind. That's right, the Mastermind. The Operator is all about controlling a swarm of micro-drones. The Gladiator is, think of them like a pro wrestler. They build up hype by promoting when they're not in combat, and then when they're in combat, they activate their streaming camera drone that follows them around, and they do wrestling moves out on the battlefield. And then the last one is the I just said it, and the Mastermind. The Mastermind is all about creating new experiments and laying traps for enemies and stuff like that. So, wide array of different character types that you can create with the full release of Astral Tides. And again, the Quick Start Guide gives you 6 of them, gives you 6 unique characters, gives you an adventure that takes roughly 2 to 3 hours to play, so it's pretty quick, gets your characters to 2nd level, and then it also gives you all the basic rules on how to play the game. So you'd be able to play pretty much any game you want with 1st level characters using this Quick Start Guide. And then once the full RPG comes out, then you'll have access to everything that goes up to 20th level. But not only that, I'm also planning, at the same time that the full rules come out, there will also be a follow-up adventure to this. So it picks up exactly where this one left off. And it takes your characters from 2nd level to 5th level. And that's called The Bones of Rokuron. And it basically follows, again, the events that happen in the Quick Start Guide here, which sees these characters defending a colony against a pirate raid. It takes those events and then says what happens afterwards, and we follow that. Why did the pirates attack? What were they after? Where are they now? And how can we ensure this doesn't happen in the future? And that adventure will end with the crew of 6, or however many player characters you have, having their own ship and being able to sail throughout the galaxy. So that's Astral Tides. Really quick stream today. Very impromptu stream, also, that you can tell by my very simple setup here, and also my first stream on YouTube, so that's exciting. But yeah, it's available on drivethrurpg.com. It is available as pay what you want, so you can kick as much money to me as you feel inclined to do. And I would highly encourage you that even if you don't want to or don't have the money to spend on a product right now, I would highly encourage you to download this anyway from drivethrurpg.com, simply because that will push it towards being a hottest new title on DriveThru, and that can only help in the future. Again, the better this quick start does, the faster the Astral Tides RPG will be released, as in the that'll increase my ability to procure art, to commission artwork for it, and all that sort of thing. So I'm really looking forward to that. The RPG is, again, this setting is near and dear to my heart. I love it. It's space opera meets the golden age of piracy. It's very exciting, very fun, and I cannot wait to get that in front of more people. I do have soft plans for more Astral Tides RPG releases after the core book and the Bones of Rock Huron 5th level, 2nd to 5th level adventure. But that will obviously depend on the success of Astral Tides. I don't want to devote a bunch of time and effort because, again, I'm doing this all myself. All the writing is myself. The design is mostly me. And I'm the one who's run all the playtests for it so far. So it takes a lot of time. It's taken me 3 years just to get this far. And I would hate to devote another 3 years to making, a couple of adventures for this if the core book just isn't popular and people don't buy it, or people aren't interested in the setting. So definitely check it out. Let me know your thoughts. Comment below. Obviously, I'll read the comments and respond as I can to this video. And you can also email me at nicholascorey@gmail.com. And you can check out my website, nicholascorey.com, to see all updates there and to get my books and that sort of thing as well. So thank you very much for checking the video out. Thank you very much for your support. And I will see you all next time.